He was the sun brilliant, untouchable, destined for the throne. She was the moon gentle, overshadowed, chosen only because her sister shone too brightly. Prince Kael of Aurelis married Princess Selene not for love, nor alliance, but to cage the very woman whose existence threatened his beloved's peace, for his heart belonged to Aurora, Selene's elder sister, the kingdom's cherished jewel. Selene, the quiet one, was a sacrifice, a shield, a pawn, but pawns, once cornered, learn how to become queens. And the prince who thought he controlled destiny will soon learn that even the moon can eclipse. The Sun, Chapter 1. The wedding without blessings, silk banners billowed across the palace. Courtyard, and the scent of snow lilies filled the winter air. Aurelis was celebrating, but not with joy, rather with forced ceremony, like a kingdom choking on its own silence. Selene stood at the altar draped in silver. Her veil felt heavier than any crown. Her hands were cold, not from the early frost, but from the truth she could not escape. She was not the bride fate had chosen. She was the bride power had demanded. Across from her, Prince Kael looked like carved marble, beautiful, proud, distant. The same eyes that softened for her sister now held only calculation. By marrying you, he had whispered days before, voice dipped in ice, I ensure Aurora lives untouched by court scandal. A queen cannot have a sister embroiled in palace schemes. You will be her shield, a shield. Not a wife. Not a woman. Just a barrier in elegant prison to protect the woman he truly loved. Selene's heart broke quietly, gracefully like everything she did. As vows were spoken, she dared to look at the crowd. Aurora stood among the nobles, eyes shimmering with unshed tears, guilt hanging around her like a cursed veil. The priest announced, "Long live the crown prince and his princess." The world applauded. Selene only heard chains. Chapter 2. A marriage made of silence. Days passed like wilted petals falling one by one. Kael visited her chambers each night not to touch, but to ensure she remained untouched by others. A guardian, cold and possessive, yet never hers. You will maintain dignity, he ordered once, voice sharp as a blade. You will not embarrass Aurora. Any scandal touches her too. Selene bowed her head. As my lord commands, each word tasted like iron. But the palace whispered. Servants bowed too deeply out of pity. Nobles smirked knowing she was second choice. Her sister avoided her gaze, shame burning like poison. Selene walked like a ghost through gilded halls. Until one night, she found her reflection staring back at her. Empty. A shadow of a princess. No. A pawn. If I am a pawn, she thought, then let me learn how to move. The moon outside was full. Quiet. Watching. And Selene, for the first time, lifted her chin. Chapter 3. When the moon rises, what Kael failed to realize was that soft things do not break, they bend. And when they bend long enough, they sharpen. Selene began to study. Politics whispered behind silk-covered doors. Names, alliances, secrets. When Kael ignored her, she listened. When he dismissed her, she planned. When he turned his back, she learned how to stand on her own, soon. The noble ladies who once mocked her now curtsied. The ministers who ignored her began seeking her. Council, even Aurora watched with growing dread. The pawn was moving. The moon was rising, and Kael? He felt it like winter creeping under a locked door. One night, he confronted her. Kael, you were meant to be quiet, obedient. Selene, smiling softly, you mistake silence for weakness, my prince. Kael, I caged you to protect her, Selene, and I learned how to turn a cage into a throne, for the first time, Kael saw her not as a shadow but as something dangerous. Arc title. When the moon turned away, Kael married Selene only to protect the happiness of his beloved Aurora. Selene, once gentle and obedient, begins to rise, her dignity forged through pain. And when a foreign commander arrives, silent eyes, steady presence, and a scar that speaks of loyalty, Selene finds what she never had, someone who chooses her. Kael watches the woman he once caged become someone another man cherishes. And regret is a blade that will not stop cutting. Scene: the first shift winter court banquet. Selene stands in silver, no longer invisible. Ministers bow, noble women whisper admiration and fear. Kael watches from his throne, jaw tight, hand clenched. Because she now glows. Not for him. Not for anyone. For herself. Then the hall parts. Commander Lysander of the Northern Legion enters, broad-shouldered, grey-eyed, the air of a storm held in flesh. A legend who once refused a crown just to serve with honor. He kneels before Selene, not Kael. Lysander, Princess, your letters saved thousands on the northern front. I am honored to finally kneel to the mind that ended a war, Kael startles. Her letters. He had ordered she not involve herself in politics. Selene smiles softly. Selene, I only offered solutions when others ignored the problem. Lysander rises, gaze lingering not as a soldier to royalty, but as a man seeing a woman worth losing sleep over. Kael's breath stutters. For the first time, fear curls in his chest. A few nights later, Kael finds her under the moonlight balcony where he once promised Aurora the world. Kael, you're growing arrogant. Selene, I'm growing free. He reaches for her wrist, habit, ownership, delusion. Lysander steps between them, quiet but lethal. Lysander, your highness, the princess does not want your hand. And I do not permit what she does not welcome. Kael feels humiliation sear his pride. Kael, lo, she is my wife. Selene, you only wanted my obedience. Not my heart. And now you have neither. Her voice is calm, final. Like a door closing. Lysander turns to her, bowing slightly. Lysander, you need only say the word, and I will walk with you into exile or empire. Selene's eyes soften not in weakness, but recognition. She has found a devotion Kael never gave. Whispers spread, the princess and the northern lion. The prince looks shaken, Aurora withdraws from court in guilt. Kael finds himself alone among silks and gold. He once caged Selene to protect his beloved, now he is the one locked in walls of his making. He watches her laugh softly with Lysander air, tender, real. And Kael realizes too late, he never feared losing her love. He feared discovering she never needed his. He visits her old, dim chambers. Touches the untouched pillows. Whispers into silence, I never meant to hurt you, but the air does not forgive him. Because regret has no audience. Selene stands at the palace gates with Lysander at her side. Not fleeing. Not banished. Choosing to leave. The court kneels. Kael watches from the balcony, crown heavy, heart heavier. She turns once not in longing, but acknowledgement. Selene, thank you, my prince. For teaching me that even unwanted seeds can bloom. Lysander offers his hand not to lead her, but to walk beside her. She takes it. The gates open. And the moon rises outside the palace walls at last. Arc. The moon wears a crown beyond his sky, setting the kingdom of Varion, land of winter roses and iron laws. A colder world, but one that saw Selene and whispered, we do not fear women who shine. We kneel, Lysander is their war hero, their lion. He returned not with spoils but with a bride fate once wasted. Snow fell like quiet blessings as Selene stepped into Varion's capital. No cheers, yet only eyes watching, weighing, judging. She did not bow her head. She who was once a shadow now walked like the world owed her light. Beside her, Lysander did not guide, he guarded. A silent sword against ghosts of her past. A minister approached, stern and frost-eyed. Minister, a foreign princess meant to rule us. Loyalty is not given. Selene met his gaze, steady as moonlight over ice. Selene, then I shall earn it. I have never feared beginning from nothing. It is how I was born, the hall murmured. Queen Althea, the reigning monarch, weather-worn and iron-sowled, lifted a hand. Queen Althea, we do not crown ornaments. Rule requires blood, bone, and scars. Selene only bowed her head once. Selene, then you will not be disappointed, and the queen smiled not kindly, but like a blacksmith who sees good steel. Back in Aurelis, Kael sat alone in a too-quiet throne room when the envoy arrived. Princess Selene has been accepted as future Queen of Varion. He did not flinch, but his fingers crushed the wine goblet until metal bent. Kael whispering, Princess Selene, no. Queen Selene, the words tasted like iron and loss. She was meant to be silent. She was meant to stay in his shadow. She was meant to, he stopped. She was never meant to be his at all. Winter thrones were carved of stone and silver. Selene knelt not trembling, but breathing slow, like someone standing on the edge of becoming. The kingdom watched, soldiers, nobles, farmers, even children holding frost-kissed flowers. Queen Althea held a crown woven of silver thorns and white winter roses, symbols of pain survived and purity reclaimed. Althea, speak your vow. Selene's voice was not loud. But kingdoms fall for voices spoken like truth. I vow not to demand loyalty, only to be worthy of it. I vow to lead not with fear, but with the strength of one who has endured it. I vow to rule as I rise, quietly, relentlessly, without permission. Gasps. A murmur of Lysander watched her, not proud, not awed, simply devoted, like he had been waiting his entire life to witness this exact moment. The crown settled on her hair, cold, heavy. Beautiful. The crowd knelt. All, long live Queen Selene, she exhaled slowly. No longer the forgotten moon. Now the sovereign night sky. That night, she sat by the window, moonlight touching the crown beside her. She wrote a letter in an elegant, frost-steady hand. Kael, I was once the silence in your halls. Now I am the voice of a kingdom. I do not hate you. Hate is a chain, and I have worn enough. You taught me how to endure. Another taught me how to rise, be well. And when you look at the moon, remember, it shines brightest when furthest from the sun. She folded it, stared for a long moment, and burned it in a golden dish. Some wounds deserve no witness. Some victories need no audience. At dawn, she stood on her balcony, crown glimmering with frost. Below, a kingdom roared her name. Beside her, Lysander rested, a hand near hers, not touching, simply present. And Selene whispered to the winter wind, this time I chose my throne. The moon had risen. And the sun would forever regret letting it go. Scene 1. The throne room without light. Kael sat upon a throne carved to honor kings. Once it fit him like destiny. Now it felt like stone round his ribs. Aurelis was fracturing, nobles whispering, alliances shifting like sand under blood. Selene's departure had been the first crack. Not because she left, but because she thrived after him. And kingdoms smell weakness the way wolves smell blood. A minister knelt, trembling. Minister, Varian sent a message. Your Highness, congratulations on Queen Selene's coronation. Kael said nothing. He nodded once. Dismissed the minister. When the doors closed, he exhaled like something inside him had finally broken free, and in doing so, left him emptied. He whispered, "Kael, Queen Selene, not my princess. Not my wife," the title cut like a quiet, perfect blade. Scene 2, the sister's confession. Aurora entered, pale, eyes hollow. "Aurora, I thought her absence would bring us peace. But all I feel is shame." Kael stared at her, the woman he once believed he would burn kingdoms for. There was no fire left, just ash. "Kael, I married her for you, Aurora, and in doing so, you killed something in both of us." He looked at her then, really looked. She was beautiful, radiant, but her light no longer warmed him. It burned. Because Selene's quiet glow, the one he never noticed, now haunted him more than Aurora's brilliance ever dazzled him. "Aurora, we could have been legends. Kael softly, we still will be. But I fear history will not worship us. Only remember what we destroyed." Aurora left in silence. He did not stop her. He no longer knew what to hold on to. Scene 3, the night he spoke to her chair. Selene's former seat at the council table remained untouched by his order. No one sat in it. No one dared. One evening, unable to breathe in the palace walls, he walked there alone. The chair waited, silent, empty, accusing. Kael sat across from it, crown placed on the cold marble. "You were never meant to matter. And yet here I am, ruling a kingdom that feels smaller without you." He dragged a hand down his face. "You should have hated me. It would be easier if you had," but she hadn't hated him. She had simply left him behind. That was the scar that never closed. Scene for cracks in the crown. Reports arrived. Nobles defecting, merchants moving trade to Varion, soldiers deserting quietly in the night. Songs spreading of the Moon Queen who was not chosen, but chose herself. Even the bards betrayed him. Even the streets whispered her name with reverence. Queen Selene. The one who rose. Kael slammed a fist against marble, pain blooming in bone, but not enough. Nothing felt enough. Scene 5, the breaking point. Late one night, Kael stood on the same balcony where he once promised Aurora the world. He could see it now, how he had mistaken obsession for love, duty for desire, possession for protection. And Selene, he had mistaken quiet for emptiness. She was never empty. She was depth he had no courage to explore. The winter wind cut his skin. He whispered into the night, "Kael, Selene, tell me I was not the villain." The wind did not answer. But in the distance, the faint sound of bells from Varion, coronation bells, victory bells, drifted on the cold air like divine laughter. He closed his eyes. And for the first time in his life, Prince Kael felt fear. Not of losing power, no, but of realizing she had been the only thing he ever had, and he had never truly seen her. The kingdom slept while Kael sat alone on a throne, too grand for regret, crown slipping from fingers clenched to tightly around empty triumph. And somewhere, under a foreign sky, a queen rose higher with every beat of her heart, while the prince who once caged her learned what it meant to be the one left behind. He kneels, the doors open. Echoes follow him like ghosts. Selene sits on her throne, the moon sovereign, serene, untouchable. Lysander stands behind her, one step back, not claiming her, simply protecting the space she earned. Kael drops to his knees, armor gone, crown absent, dignity bleeding. "I thought I understood power. I did not understand you." Selene's voice is soft, the same softness he once mistook for silence. "Selene, stand, Kael." He lifts his head, but cannot rise. Legs trembling, heart shattered. "Kael, I do not deserve to stand before you." A conversation years too late for a long moment. Nothing exists but winter and breath. Kael, I came to apologize. Selene studies him. There is no anger. That hurts him more than hatred ever could. You do not owe me an apology. You owe yourself one. He looks up, eyes raw. Kael, I ruined us. There was never an us, Kael. There was your dream, and my shadow cast beneath it. Kael flinches. Truth always cuts cleanest. Kael, the forgiveness he cannot bear he swallows, voice breaking like old stone. Kael, do you hate me? Selene's gaze softens like moonlight on snow. No. Hatred binds. I learned to let go. Something inside him collapses. He cries, quietly, the way proud men break. Kael, then, do you forgive me? She rises, not descending to him, but acknowledging his pain without surrendering her throne. Yes. I forgive you, Kael, Kael. He releases a breath that sounds like a dying world. And in that mercy, he realizes forgiveness does not heal the one who wronged, it frees the one who endured. His final plea, Kael, if I could go back, she lifts a hand. Not cruel, gentle, firm, final. Do not rewrite the past. I would not be who I am if you had loved me. This is the dagger that gives no wound, because it simply is. Kael bows his head to the marble, tears striking it like falling winter rain. Kael, is there nothing left for me in your heart? Selene whisper. Only gratitude for who your cruelty allowed me to become. Lysander watches him, not gloating, not smug. Only pity for a man who learned too late. Goodbye. Selene steps forward and touches Kael's hair, a farewell gesture, tender as snow melting in spring. Not affection. A benediction. Go, Kael. Find peace, not penance, Kael, and you. Have you found happiness? She looks back at Lysander, who meets her eyes with steady devotion. A smile like dawn touches her lips. I found myself. That was enough. Everything else was grace. Kael nods, broken, reverent. He stands with difficulty, voice raw. Kael, goodbye, my moon. Selene's gaze stays soft. Farewell, Kael. You were a chapter. Not my story. Final image. Kael walks away, footsteps faint across marble. He does not look back, not because he is strong, but because looking would finish him. Behind him, the palace doors close with a quiet, merciful finality. Inside, Selene returns to her throne. A queen in her own right, luminous, unclaimed, free. Outside, Kael steps into the winter night. Forgiven. And utterly alone.